The medical bay of the UES Defiant had seen its share of casualties, but nothing quite like the woman currently restrained to bed 7. Dr. Marcus Chen adjusted his glasses nervously as he reviewed the file displayed on his tablet, stealing glances at the seemingly unconscious figure. Subject designation, Lisa 7, he murmured into his voice recorder. Human female, approximately 25 years old, recovered from the ruins of Colony Station Theta on Kepler 442b after the Zephyrian attack. Extensive neural modification detected, purpose unknown. Commander Jake Sullivan stood in the doorway, his arms crossed as he watched the doctor work. How extensive are we talking, Doc? Like nothing I've ever seen, Marcus replied, approaching the bed cautiously. The neural pathways have been completely rewired. Enhanced reflexes, increased muscle density, sensory amplification beyond human norms. Whatever they did to her. Lisa's eyes snapped open. In one fluid motion that defied the restraints, she twisted free and lunged at Marcus. Her teeth found his forearm before he could react, sinking deep enough to draw blood. Marcus screamed and stumbled backward as Lisa crouched on the medical bed, her lips pulled back in a feral snarl. "Sedate her!" Sullivan shouted, drawing his sidearm but hesitating to fire in the cramped medical bay. But Marcus held up his uninjured hand. Despite the blood streaming down his arm, something in Lisa's eyes had caught his attention. Intelligence, recognition, and beneath the wild exterior, unmistakable human pain. "Wait," he gasped. "She's not attacking anymore." Lisa's head tilted, studying Marcus with predatory focus. When she spoke, her voice was rough, unused to human speech. "They made me a weapon." Sullivan kept his weapon trained on her. "Who made you a weapon?" Lisa's gaze shifted to the commander, and a low growl rumbled from her throat. Her enhanced senses had immediately cataloged him as the pack leader, the alpha threat. Every instinct screamed at her to either submit or challenge, and submission wasn't in her programming. "The Zephyrians," Marcus said softly, understanding flooding his features. "They captured human colonists and experimented on them, turned them into biological weapons. To fight other humans," Lisa confirmed, her words becoming clearer with each syllable. "But the programming, it's breaking down. I remember who I was." Over the following days, Marcus worked tirelessly to understand Lisa's modifications while she recovered in the medical bay. She spoke in fragments about her life before, Dr. Lisa Rodriguez, xenobiologist, studying the unique ecosystem of Kepler 442b when the Zephyrian raiders struck. Commander Sullivan remained skeptical, posting guards outside the medical bay. But Marcus found himself fascinated not just by the scientific marvel of her transformation, but by the woman fighting to reclaim her humanity beneath the artificial predatory instincts. "The neural inhibitors are failing," Marcus explained to Sullivan during their daily briefing. "Whatever the Zephyrians use to control her mind, her human consciousness is reasserting itself." "Is she dangerous?" Sullivan asked bluntly. "Extremely, but not to us, not anymore." It was Dr. Elena Vasquez from the psychology department who first noticed Lisa's behavioral changes. "She's imprinting," Elena told Marcus as they observed Lisa through the medical bay's observation window. "Like a wild animal that's been domesticated. But it's specifically focused on you, Marcus." Marcus had noticed it too. Lisa's aggression toward other crew members remained barely controlled, but she was calm in his presence. More than calm, protective. When Lieutenant Torres had raised his voice at Marcus during a particularly frustrating equipment malfunction, Lisa had appeared in the doorway like a silent shadow, her enhanced senses having heard the confrontation from 3 decks away. The real test came when the Zephyrian pursuit ship caught up with them near the Proxima station. "Battle stations," Sullivan commanded as the alien vessel decloaked off their starboard bow. The Defiant was a science vessel, not a warship. Against Zephyrian battle cruisers, they were hopelessly outgunned. That's when Lisa appeared on the bridge. She'd somehow bypassed the locked doors and security systems, moving through the ship's maintenance shafts with inhuman grace. But instead of the medical gown she'd been wearing, she now wore modified, tactical gear that she'd apparently assembled from ship's supplies. "Lisa, get back to the medical bay," Marcus started to say, but she silenced him with a look. "I know their ship," she said, her voice carrying absolute certainty. "I know their weaknesses. Let me end this." What followed would become legend in the fleet records. Lisa Rodriguez, the woman who had bitten an expert, growled at a commander and then claimed quarters next to the medical bay like a protective guardian, single-handedly infiltrated the Zephyrian vessel. She used her enhanced abilities and insider knowledge of Zephyrian technology to disable their weapon systems from within, turning their own biological weapons against them. When she returned to the Defiant, she was covered in alien blood but walking tall with renewed humanity in her eyes. Commander Sullivan found Marcus in his quarters that evening, reviewing the mission reports. "Your pet science project just saved all our lives," Sullivan said, not entirely without humor. Marcus looked up from his tablet. "She's not a project, Jake. She's a person who chose to be human again when she could have remained a weapon." Through the bulkhead wall, they could hear the soft sounds of Lisa settling into the quarters, she'd claimed, the room directly adjacent to Marcus's. She'd moved her few possessions there without asking permission, a territorial claim that everyone on the ship had learned to accept. "She's chosen you as her anchor," Sullivan observed. "The thing that keeps her human." Marcus nodded, understanding the weight of that responsibility. In saving Lisa from her artificial nature, she had perhaps saved him too, reminding him that even in the vast darkness between stars, human connection could overcome any amount of alien programming. Outside his window, the stars of Kepler 442b's system faded behind them as they headed home, carrying with them proof that humanity's greatest strength wasn't its weapons or technology. It was its capacity to remain human, even after everything else had been stripped away.